got to get into right now. What people are saying is that this ship called the Bass Strait launched, these objects, these units, okay? And that's been now propagated, and it is 100% false. And I want to hear from somebody who has direct knowledge of this, and that's why this is the next little bit of audio. One of the duties of this person was to monitor the Bass Strait in real time. And let's see what this person has to say. I want to talk about origin. There's been a lot of talk that these objects, if not launched from land, that they were launched from a merchant vessel. So the Bass Strait is, a lot of people are trying to pin this on the Bass Strait. Can you tell me a little bit about that, about origin, and what you know about the Bass Strait?
This was the closest that we ever came to on our ship figuring a possible origin outside of coming from land somehow, like you said, traversing those 30 to 50 miles that we were from the nearest islands. So at one point, we did see what looked like multiple air contacts around a merchant ship that was operating in our vicinity of our strike group. And it was a foreign flag merchant ship. And we reached out to them. They denied. They weren't a vessel of interest that we had been worried about or anything. But I think it was like 5 to 10 of the aircraft circling around it, and we never saw it actually land on this vessel.
Was it your impression that the contacts did not belong to the merchant vessel? And can you verify that you asked the merchant vessel and they denied that they were theirs?
Yeah, I could verify the latter for sure. And that was also why I sort of skirted around saying many details about that merchant vessel, because I'm not sure where the investigation went afterwards. I sort of helped compose the message that we sent off because I'd seen it. And like I said, we didn't see them land on it. And that was what we really wanted to see. Like, we really wanted to see either a launch or a landing. We didn't know if possibly this vessel had a foreign nation's intelligence detachment on board or something like that doing this. They did deny they were the source, and they also never landed or launched them. So,
right,
really wanted to see that because we just wanted an answer, because we were tired of it. It was not launching, was not receiving the drones as much as we wanted it to. Like, we were like, this is the source. This has to be it. We finally figured it out, and it seemed like it probably wasn't, just based on the fact that we never saw them land or take off.
Why is this important?
And again, this kind of goes back to the warfighter in all of us, like you've talked about before. You've spoken to folks who, they're not happy with how this unfolded. We're out there, we're trying to do our job, and yet we're getting peppered, almost like we're in the boxing ring getting jabbed. And we can't punch back. And so finally, like you hear, and it's, I can commiserate with that feeling of almost not helplessness, but just frustration that you've got a job to do. We're all trained warfighters to defend the country, but each other and our ship, right? And we're getting harassed by these damn things. And finally, we see, okay, there's the culprit right there, and we're gonna query the hell out of them and tell them to knock it off or whatever the case is, right? And what do you hear that guy say? He goes, so we finally see them there, and we wanted it so bad for it to be the source of our frustrations over these past few nights, and not once did they see anything either land or take off from this merchant vessel. So it just speaks to the, I feel bad a little bit, because I can hear and I can feel, I can commiserate with the frustration expressed.
He wanted an
answer. He wanted an answer.
Yeah.
He wanted an answer, and it's almost like you're harassed by these things for so many nights in a row, and finally you think you've got that answer, and then the carpet's pulled from underneath you, and it's not.
So the big thing for me is that people can just make up any shit they want and they can publish it, and it starts to be trickled down as truth through tabloids all the way to Wikipedia, and it's bullshit, and it's direct bullshit. And knowing that is one thing. You and I will know certain things, but getting somebody who's there, whose job it was to watch the Bass Strait and make sure it was not the source of these. Now we finally have that person on record, verified, that was his duty. And he sadly can't report to us that this was some sort of adversarial
Yeah.
drone being launched off this ship, which of course it wasn't, with over 100 and 100-mile radius, right? That never made sense. This excuse, that case closed, never made sense. But to get it through, you have to hear from people directly there.
We also know that there was further investigation, that the Bass Strait was in port when
Yeah.
this was still going on,
Yeah.
that it was not responsible for launching what was buzzing around these ships.
So you and I have already reported on that numerous times, and now let's just give it one more go, which is that we have direct information and knowledge of who and how the Bass Strait was investigated after the day of events, and they were determined not to be the place of origin, landing, or launch of these 100+ units in the 100-mile radius. So guess what? Case open.